Chris, what is our second main topic today?
This is from James Lockman. Hey, John. Frank Marshall, who has produced all 4 previous Indiana Jones films, has confirmed on social media that filming on Indiana Jones 5 has wrapped. Does this news up your excitement level? If not, what would get you more excited? The first trailer? Even though there have been many delays, I'm excited and curious because James Mangold is directing and Mads Mikkelsen is going to be in it. What are your thoughts?
All right. Thanks a lot for saying that in. And yeah, the biggest conspiracy going on in the world has been the lie that there's an Indiana Jones 5 coming. It's all been a lie. Since 2008, when they first announced that they were going to work on another one, and delay after delay after delay, and the director changes and all this kind of stuff, more Harrison Ford injuries. The lie that there was another Indiana Jones coming has permeated our culture, and people have been buying into it. Well, it looks like it actually might be real. They've actually somehow, some way, for over a decade, they've had this thing in one stage of development or another. It looks like they finally got this thing done. This comes to us from the folks over at IndieWire who write the following. Frank Marshall, who has produced all 4 of the previous Indiana Jones films, along with the Bourne and Back to the Future franchises, and many a beloved Steven Spielberg film, took to Twitter to announce that the film has finished shooting. That's a wrap, he tweeted, along with a picture of an Indiana Jones baseball hat. After years of false starts and delays, the film's completion should come as welcome news to fans eagerly awaiting another adventure from the globe-trotting archaeologist. And we'll go over to Twitter here, take a quick look at what it was that Frank Marshall tweeted out. He just put out, that's a wrap. I think Mangold also sent out the same tweet. There's also something interesting here. Why don't you take a look at this? Is that we might also be seeing the title of the movie here. It just, Indy.
I hope not.
I actually don't think that wouldn't be a bad title.
But I love the titles, the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and the Last Crusade.
But the first one was just Raiders of the Lost Ark. It wasn't Indiana Jones.
But Raiders of the Lost Ark is a cool title.
It's a cool. I like the idea. I think
You just have to say it like one of his love interests, though. Indy.
But and the way it looks, I think. Look, by the way, nothing is saying that this is the official title of the movie, which that just could be the crew hat, and they just happen to put that on the crew hat. But if it was the title, tell you what, I'm down for it. I think it would be an all right title, a simple, short, one-word title with the great imagery, and everybody knows. You just say Indy, everybody knows what you're talking about. They don't think you're talking about the car race. They don't think you're talking about the Colts. They're talking about Indiana Jones. But being that as it may, the big story here, though, is obviously that they have, so they say, wrapped production, and it's done. Harrison Ford can crash more planes. He can have more doors fall on his legs. It's okay because he doesn't have to be on set anymore. By the way, we do not wish for any harm to befall our beloved Harrison Ford at all.
He must be protected.
It's clear. It's like you can get back involved in your risk-taking adventures, Harrison Ford, because you don't have to be on set tomorrow. It almost feels surreal that this thing is actually now in the can. By the way, this movie is still forever away. This movie doesn't come out till, I believe, June of next year. They've wrapped production, but it doesn't come out for over another year. So that's because they really want this thing to have a summer release date. So I kind of get that. And anyway, Rob, you hear about this? They have wrapped. It's actually done. It's in the can, Indiana Jones 5. What are your thoughts on this, number one? And number two, now that it's tangibilized, as I would say, where's your expectation for an Indiana Jones 5 right now?
John, I hate to say this. I'm neutral. I'm neutral. I'm like, I love the Indiana Jones franchise. Raiders of the Lost Ark was one of the most exhilarating experiences I've ever had in a theater because nobody knew what it was about at the time. But, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I know it's cliche to say this, but I've never seen a movie where I thought all the decisions made in that film were the wrong ones. The only thing that gives me hope now, and Steven Spielberg, obviously one of my favorite directors, the fact that James Mangold came into this property and coming off of movies like Logan and like Ford v Ferrari, I mean, Mangold has been a powerhouse, really a filmmaker that's always reliable. Even when something he makes is not the greatest in the world, but still reliable. He's always there for great entertainment.
And some of the stuff he makes is some of the greatest things in the world.
Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, Ford v Ferrari was like, oh, my God, I loved it so much. I'm really hoping that, and he's both an auteur, he's a writer, director. I'm hoping this movie's terrific because who knows how many movies Harrison Ford has in him. This could be a swan song. You never know. So I want this movie to be great, but I'm going to stay neutral until I see a trailer. I'm glad it's done. I'm glad they finished it. I can't wait to see it, to be honest. I mean, why not get excited for an Indiana Jones movie? But I'm just gonna be I'm just gonna wait, John. Wait till the trailer. Hope it's great.
I'll tell you what, I'm number one surprised that it's done. My expectation level then is all based on one thing and one thing alone, and that's James Mangold.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. The guy who directed Copland, which is, I mean, take Rocky out of it, probably Sylvester Stallone's greatest accomplishment, greatest feature. He did one of my favorite Westerns other than Unforgiven in 3:10 to Yuma.
Yeah.
I love what he did on that. I love Night and Day, the one he did with Tom Cruise.
It was fun.
Cute.
I really enjoyed the movie. I love Logan. I love Ford v Ferrari. You know, I was bummed out like everybody else when they said Steven Spielberg wasn't directing it anymore. But hey, man, if you can get James Mangold in there to do it, I'm completely all for it. And so that's the reason why I still have a lot of enthusiasm. And by the way, as much as Steven Spielberg is the GOAT, getting some fresh blood into this franchise probably isn't a bad idea. And he might be able to take it to the next level, and we'll see where we go. Anyway, Chris, number one, what do you think about them actually finishing production on this movie? And number two, where's your anticipation level right now?
Like you, I didn't think this was a real thing. Or it was just, that's not happening. They're not making this movie. But, I've been proved wrong twice now. The Flash and now this. So keep going, Hollywood. Good job. I honestly wasn't excited about this at all before. I'm someone who, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is in my marriage vows.
What? Really?
I told Logan that I was still marrying him, knowing that he likes Crystal Skull.
All right, that's good. That's fair.
Because he's a Tombstone pizza guy, right? Even if it's bad, it's still pizza. Even if a movie's bad, it's still fun sometimes for him. He finds joy in things that I wish I did. But knowing now that Mangold is involved, like y'all, I'm very excited about that. I'm a big 3:10 to Yuma fan. Obviously, love the movie Logan, and I'm really excited about Mads Mikkelsen.
Me too.
Put him in everything. He makes everything better. Oh my gosh, he's like everything but the bagel seasoning from Trader Joe's. I just want that shit on everything. So that makes me very, very happy.
And this kind of is a Mad Mikkelsen kind of episode. We were just talking about him in Secrets of Dumbledore.
Exactly.
Now in this,
making everything better today. But I'm going to be cautiously optimistic about this. The last film wasn't my favorite, but hopefully with somebody else in the mix, we'll see something really great.
I have a very weird outlook on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I've always kind of felt like it's not a bad little adventure movie if it was called anything other than Indiana Jones. Like, I've always kind of felt if this was called, Dr. Whistlehorn Fembottom and the Alien Treasures of the Jungle, if that's what it was called. Yeah, I just nailed it right there. If that's what it's called, I probably would have approached it and looked and said, that's not a bad little adventure film. But it wasn't an Indiana Jones movie. You know what I mean? And so one of my biggest memories of that movie was I was invited to the Paramount lot to watch this movie for the first time. And I was sitting beside Larry King. And it was Larry King and his, at the time, super hot 31-year-old supermodel girlfriend, whoever she was at the time. I can't remember. But I remember sitting beside Larry King. That's something I'll never forget. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Indiana Jones 5 is now done shooting and now goes into post-production, coming out next summer. How do you guys feel about it? What are your thoughts on the movie right now in general? Are you looking forward to it? Do you think it's too late? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.